Hello English learners and welcome back to another video. My name is Michael and this is Level Up English. I'm here today in Battersea Park in Chelsea, which is kind of on the west of London, and I've got another interview for you today. So I'm talking to my good friend. We're going to be sitting in the park with a nice view in the background, and I really hope you enjoy it. It's still kind of an experiment for me, these interviews, these conversations, but I hope you enjoy it and I hope you like what she has to say. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm here again in the park for another conversation with my good friend here, who I will let introduce herself. So here we go.
Hi, my name is Zin. I am from Myanmar, and now I'm working as a junior doctor in the NHS.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining me. Thank you very much. It might be a little bit awkward. You know, we don't often come and film in the park like this. And I'm trying to sit a little bit away to keep this nice pagoda in the background in view. But maybe could you start by telling us a little bit about why you came to the UK, first of all, and perhaps even like your impressions when you first got here too?
Sure. First, UK wasn't my destination at all when I was young. Always wanted to be like a volunteer doctor. But then when I was doing my internship, and then most of my friends were taking an English test, which was like the preliminary for our medical license in here. So, and it must be like a peer pressure from them, and then I really wanted to go to another country to get the training there. So this is like it would be like a little bit easier than the other countries to join, so that's why I came here.
So basically because it was easy and no other reason, right?
I'm from an Asian country, so stepping out of my country, like I came from the east now to the west would be like quite a big journey, and yeah, it's not like an easy journey for me, even though I said that it is easier compared to going to other countries.
What do you think are the big differences then between Myanmar and the UK? What are some big differences that you noticed when you first got here? Good things and bad things, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. The first thing I ever noticed is the weather. The weather, obviously, even though it is now sunny, it's like winter for me. When I first came in 2019, it was in June, and I was wearing my jumper and then like the hold down jacket, and I saw everyone's wearing their shorts, and they were looking at me like an alien. So it was the weather. This is the first things that I noticed. The second thing would be like, everything here goes in a system and in a flows. For example, like Oyster cards that we use for the bus and then transport, we don't have that card in my country. We only use like cash to pay. It's really convenient. You don't need to carry cash anymore. And then back in my country, we only use like cash system everywhere. So you need to carry all the parts. Now I can only use with my phone, which is really convenient.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point, and I think so the Oyster card is like a card you can use for transport. You tap in and tap out on the trains. It's really convenient, although they don't have it, I think it's just in London, isn't it? They don't have anything like that in other areas of the UK, but yeah, I do think exactly like that. And I think the COVID pandemic also spurred on a lot of the cashless way that we do things now. Even in the countryside, like people just use their phones and things like that. No one really has cash anymore. So that's one thing that annoys me when I go to other countries a little bit. You work for the NHS, the hospital service, healthcare service, you know, whatever you want to call it. And I think that might be interesting for some people to hear more about. So it's obviously a big topic, but could you tell us a bit about your experience working there, what it's like?
Now I'm working as a junior doctor in the NHS, so my job description would be like seeing patients, sometimes together with my boss, like my consultant or my registrar, and then sometimes myself, especially on night shifts. So everything starts from A&E. So A&E is like the first front of my hospital, and then you go to either the surgery or medicine. If it comes to medicine part, then you'll meet me. And then start seeing the patient from there, and then taking care according to their symptoms, and then their like what specialty they are going to. Now I am in the acute medicine unit, so it's like the short stay in the hospitals, and then it's quite hectic, I would say.
Can I ask, if you're happy to share, you don't have to share, but what is one of the craziest or most unusual things you've seen working in the hospital?
I've got a lot of stories about patients or crazy stuff happening. So obviously I can't share about my patients due to confidentiality. So the craziest things I've ever done it could be during my night shift. So I've never done the night shift that long before. So we started at 8 o'clock and starting with the handover. And then we started seeing the patient. And then by the time I realized that, oh my God, I need to rest really badly. And then I realized that it was 7 o'clock in the morning. It was so crazy. Yeah. And then I'm not familiar with handling the machine back in my country, as I'm just junior doctors. And then everything is quite different from here. Like even joining the NHS and then joining the different healthcare system back from my country, Myanmar, to here is the craziest things for me. Like the last year was hell of a ride.
How long was that night shift? So you finished at 7 a.m.
8 o'clock. So it starts from 8 and then finish at 8, but we don't really finish at 8. So 8 o'clock start with the handover from the morning team. So yeah, so it was sometime extend to like 8:30ish, and then yeah.
What was that, your longest one? 12 hours? Or more
Yeah,
than 12?
12 hour. And then the horrible thing is you are not doing only one night shift, so you are doing like in a set. So 3 nights straight or 4 nights straight. The first night ever is the hardest one because you're not really tired on your in the morning, and then you're going to the shift, and when you get really tired. So I would say the first night ever of the set is the worst.
Okay, so obviously your English is really good, and it almost feels a little bit kind of patronizing to talk about your English learning journey, because I don't even think of you that way because your English is fantastic. But like, have you had any issues with that, or do you think like you have grown a lot in your language ability since being here? And I don't know if you've had any like language barriers or problems at your work in any way. I don't know if you have anything to say on that.
So first I said that for the first part of the medical license is English test. So I spent more than a year to pass the exam.
Is it the IELTS test?
Yes.
What score did you get?
So you need to get overall 7, and then each of the other one you need to score 7.
It's quite a high score.
It's quite high, and then I'll always lag in writing or either speaking, like 6.5 or sometimes 6. So it's really difficult exam for me. Yeah, I tried that exam for quite a few times, and I didn't even pass at all. And then I tried that occupational English test, which is more convenient for doctors to join. Then I passed the first one, and then joined for that second and third one, which is related to medical exams. The way of learning English is from movie, I would say. I usually watch the movie with the subtitles on it. Yeah, and I...
English movie, English subtitles. Yeah.
Yes. My English teacher taught me you learn every 3 new words, write down in the notebook, and then you just memorize it like 3 words today, and then another day 3 more words, and then you'll get like your own thesaurus or dictionary of it. It's really useful. Yeah.
So are these words that you are learning from the movies, and then you're kind of noting them down as you're watching? Is that what you...
Sometimes I note it down, and then sometimes even though you don't understand that word, then you can just guess like maybe that's what that could mean, something like that. Yeah, and then you can look back from the dictionary. Oh, that's the meaning.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of doing it. It's like, I think guessing the meaning of a word without knowing is such an important skill that I think people have to get comfortable with, and I think it's a big part of the IELTS exam too. I know lots of people watching might be doing that exam, is they don't expect you to know all the words, they expect you to be able to kind of guess the meaning based on the context. So that's a good skill. So maybe you could tell us about like language barriers you might have had at work and in life and stuff like that as well. Maybe I'll wait for him.
As as NHS is like the we got a lot of international doctors and then other health professionals. So we turn to communicate with like different accents, and then it was really hard to understand what exactly they're saying. And then the way they're using their like their own slang. So when I was doing my first training, my boss was asking one of the patients, like, have you eaten your dinner around this time? I was confused. I didn't know that.
So it's like mid-afternoon?
Yeah, mid-afternoon. And they said it's like dinner. And then somebody asked me around like 8 o'clock in the evening, and then asked me like, have you done your tea? I'm not very clever because they are referring lunch as dinner and dinner as tea. So I don't know that. And then they've got like loads of how do you say, like slang or Now I can learn like day by day, and then
That's amazing. So this was a native speaker or someone from another country you're talking about?
Native speakers. I spent like a month stay in the Wales. So the way they're speaking Welsh and then the English is a little bit different for me too.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's a good point. Tea is, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but sometimes we call dinner tea. I was brought up calling dinner tea. We're not actually talking about drinking tea. It's just tea is the name for the evening meal in some parts of the country. And I would say dinner, at least in my family, dinner is usually the biggest meal of the day. So for example, at Christmas, we would call a lunch dinner because it's the biggest meal. So that's one interesting thing. So maybe one final question I would like to ask you is there anything that you would like to share about your country with us? It could be like a fact or anything going on there at the moment, anything you'd like to share about where you're from before we go?
So I'm from a country called Myanmar. It's a country between Thailand and India, and also border with China. So it's like the culture of us is, I would say, is linked to all other countries there, and then we share like similar food and then a similar culture as well. We got loads of beautiful temples and pagoda like this in my country, but unfortunately we are facing a political issue. We got a lot of political issue since last year, the military coup happening. So it's a bit sad.
Well, I mean, thank you for sharing. So maybe I think this is something that isn't often in the international news. I don't see it much anymore. I did maybe last year. Maybe this is something that people can like look up themselves and maybe educate themselves on a bit more if they want to. But thank you so much for joining us. It was really nice to talk with you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. It's so big.